Bible reading, The Remnant. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 21. A remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. Romans chapter 11, verse 5. So too, at the present time, there is a remnant, chosen by grace. Judges chapter 5, verse 13. Then down marched the remnant of the noble. The people of the Lord marched down for me against the mighty. 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 30. And the surviving remnant of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 19. The remnant of the trees of his forest will be so few that a child can write them down. Genesis chapter 45, verse 7. And God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and to keep you alive for you many survivors. Second Kings chapter 19, verse 31. For out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant, and out of Mount Zion a band of survivors. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 5. In that day the Lord of hosts will be a crown of glory, and a diadem of beauty to the remnant of his people. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 8. Because you have plundered many nations, all the remnant of the peoples shall plunder you, for the blood of man and violence to the earth, to cities and all who dwell in them. 2 Kings chapter 21, verse 14. And I will forsake the remnant of my heritage, and give them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 22. For though your people, Israel, be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant of them will return. Destruction is decreed, overflowing with righteousness. Joshua chapter 13, verse 12. All the kingdom of Og in Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth and in Edrei, he alone was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. These Moses had struck and driven out. 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 46. And from the land he exterminated the remnant of the male cult prostitutes who remained in the days of his father Asa. Jeremiah chapter 42, verse 19. The Lord has said to you, O remnant of Judah, do not go to Egypt. Know for a certainty that I have warned you this day. Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 12. I will take the remnant of Judah, who have set their faces to come to the land of Egypt to live, and they shall all be consumed. In the land of Egypt they shall fall. By the sword and by famine they shall be consumed. From the least to the greatest they shall die by the sword and by famine. and they shall become an oath, a horror, a curse, and a taunt. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 3. Death shall be preferred to life by all the remnant that remains of this evil family in all the places where I have driven them, declares the Lord of hosts. Jeremiah chapter 47, verse 5. Baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon has perished. O remnant of their valley, how long will you gash yourselves? Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 3. And they said to me, the remnant there in the province who had survived the exile is in great trouble and shame. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates are destroyed by fire. Ezra chapter 9, verse 8. But now, for a brief moment, favor has been shown by the Lord our God to leave us a remnant and to give us a secure hold within his holy place, that our God may brighten our eyes and grant us a little reviving in our slavery. Ezra chapter 9, verse 15. O Lord, the God of Israel, you are just, for we are left a remnant that has escaped, as it is today. Behold, we are before you in our guilt, for none can stand before you because of this. Micah chapter 7, verse 18. God's steadfast love and compassion. Who is a God like you, pardoning iniquity and passing over transgression for the remnant of his inheritance? He does not retain his anger forever, because he delights in steadfast love. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 20. The remnant of Israel will return. In that day, the remnant of Israel and the survivors of the house of Jacob will no more lean on him who struck them, but will lean on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. In that day, the Lord will extend his hand yet a second time to recover the remnant that remains of his people. From Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the coastlands of the sea. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 16. And there will be a highway from Assyria for the remnant that remains of his people, as there was for Israel when they came up from the land of Egypt. Isaiah chapter 37, verse 31. And the surviving remnant of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. Isaiah chapter 37, verse 32. For out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant, and out of Mount Zion a band of survivors. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. Psalm chapter 76, verse 10. Surely the wrath of man shall praise you. The remnant of wrath you will put on like a belt. Amos chapter 9, verse 11. The restoration of Israel. In that day I will raise up the booth of David that is fallen, and repair its breaches, and raise up its ruins, and rebuild it, as in the days of old. Amos chapter 9, verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations who are called by my name, declares the Lord who does this. Micah chapter 2, verse 12. I will surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. I will gather the remnant of Israel. I will set them together, like sheep in a fold, like a flock in its pasture, a noisy multitude of men. Acts chapter 15, verse 17. That the remnant of mankind may seek the Lord, and all the Gentiles who are called by my name, says the Lord who makes these things.